This meeting to order at the Brown County Commission. We'll lead by the pledge. Dwayne, would you lead the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. First thing on our agenda is some bids for the LED light project. Here we go. Thank you.
And this is the addendum that we'd like to approve first before we do anything.
We had some changes and clarifications that got put into these plans on December 8th, so there's just a few items here that better clarify the way the plans are put together and some part numbers and different things. Does anybody have any questions about those items?
All the potential bidders have been provided this, they're aware of it.
Yep, it was posted to the exchanges and then sent to the folks on the plan holders list.
I'll move to approve the addendum.
Second. Any other questions? With that, we can move forward. Open the bids, Judy.
Need to vote
I'll
on
read
it.
the notice to bidders.
She's got to
Okay.
read it.
Notice is hereby given that sealed bids will be received in the chambers of the Brown County Board of Commissioners at the Brown County Courthouse, Annex 25 Market Street, Suite 1, Aberdeen, South Dakota, until the hour of 8:45 a.m. on December 13th, 2016. At said time and place, all bids will be publicly opened, read, and considered by the Brown County Board of Commissioners for labor and materials required for LED lighting replacement project. Replacement of fixtures in the State's Attorney's Department, Sheriff's Department, and jail in accordance with specifications. On-site work to commence after January 1, 2017, and completion of work shall be before May 30th, 2017. After May 30, 2017, contractors may be assessed up to a maximum penalty of $500 per week. Proposal guarantee. No proposal will be considered unless accompanied by a certified check, cashier's check, or bank draft for 5% of the amount of the bid. Such check to be issued by either a state or national bank or payable to Brown County, or in lieu thereof, a bid bond for 10% of the amount of the bid. Such bond to be issued by a surety company authorized to do business in South Dakota and payable to Brown County. Performance bond. Brown County will give notice to the successful bidder that the proposal has been accepted. The said bidder shall within 10 days thereafter enter into a contract with Brown County and furnish a performance bond in the amount equal to the contract price. The Brown County Board of Commissioners reserves the right to accept or reject any or all the bids that they deem to be in the best interest of Brown County and to waive any informalities of irregularities therein.
Is the board voted?
Not
yet.
We've heard the specs and the addendum, and there's a motion on the table in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We got that. That helps.
Who's on our first list there?
This is Milliken Electric.
Milliken?
Yep, it's M-I-L-L-I-K-E-N. They're out of Mill Ridge. And we have a bid bond.
Bond for 10%?
Yep, 10% bid bond.
Okay.
And they wish that they acknowledge the addendum 1. And The base bid price is $146,729.
And no cents?
No cents. And this one is from Ladner Electric. It's a bid bond for 10%. And they acknowledge addendum also. And their base bid is $144,375. And then our last one is from Madden Electric. And we have a 10% bid bond, and they acknowledge the addendum. And the base bid price is $157,800.
Want to review them before you make a recommendation?
I think as long as we've got our bid bond and our addendums acknowledged, I don't see any reason not to proceed with, you
Okay.
guys want to proceed with
But
the low
that's
bidder?
that's another bid, or what is that?
This is the packet, right?
There's bids in there that
Oh,
came
there's
this
bids in
morning.
here, too?
Yeah.
I thought it was just all the notice to bidders and advertising invoices. What's that one? Oh, we got a lot then.
Kept you out of trouble, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yeah, because I just was reading what it said on the,
I saw it laying there, and I thought,
yeah.
Who is our next?
Would be Swanson Electric. This is terrible. It's a bid bond for 10%. And they acknowledge the addendum, and that's $191,711. And this one is from Mute Electric. And we have a 10% bid bond. And they acknowledge the addendum. And that's $500,000.
And even 500,000.
Better make sure. It's empty.
That's it?
Yes.
Total of 5 bidders then, everybody's?
Yep.
Everybody's been opened.
Well, if you don't want to take the time to review them, if you feel confident that the bids are adequate, I'll make a motion to approve the Ladner Electric.
second.
There's a motion on the table to approve Ladner Electric. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to accept Ladner Electric to do the LED project.
Thank everybody for bidding.
Yep,
Appreciate
thank you,
it.
bidders.
Thank you.
Yeah, my copy.
Oh, thank you. I always have to keep one in the back.
Thank you, son. Another copy, that takes that to me too, and I'll start working on contracts.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Judy.
You.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is ordinance 106, which is a Cliffville rezone. This is a rezone that was approved earlier but had to be corrected due to a legal description error. We have our first reading of it.
I'll move it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I guess we're at 8:55, we can move right in with our next. We have ordinance, set a date for ordinance 107. This will be I don't have that in front of me. It's just the first reading.
I'll move it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the first reading?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a few minutes before our 9 o'clock. Kathy, you got a few items you want to take care of?
Yeah, minutes from December 6th general meeting.
Move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
HR report.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the HR department. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We had authorized advertising for that 107, but I believe we took care of that. We have the,
Hang on just a second. You did a first reading on 107 today, right?
No, we set the hearing.
no, yeah, we're just authorizing advertising and setting.
Oh,
Second, first hearing.
we said first hearing though, didn't we?
You said first hearing.
Should we
First
have
reading.
Do we have to have an amendment to that, Larry?
No, I think what you just need to do is make sure the minutes are
Clarify
clear.
that.
Then what you voted for is to,
Have the first reading.
Set the hearing.
set the hearing
Set the
date.
hearing
Okay.
date.
And and authorize the advertising.
Minutes will be clear, yeah. There was a fair contract with the NSU women's swim team.
I'll move it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Sheriff's report for November.
Move it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for the sheriff's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then discuss the Brown County Speedway is the only thing left.
Is there here?
Todd Neuendorf was in, a few weeks ago and asked us to consider approving the possibility of having a monster truck event prior to the fair, and he kind of needs to know so he can let them know because it's a scheduling issue. So I told him we'd at least discuss it and see if anyone was willing to at least consider approving him having the event.
I know the fair manager was concerned about having that. You gonna have it in July?
You're gonna have it at the end of July,
$15 tickets. I don't think it will affect the fair. That's my opinion.
I personally don't either. I think it's a small enough event and a small enough admission price that probably two different crowds, so.
Have you heard anything from the fair manager, either one of you, from as far as
I
I have not
haven't.
either?
No.
No.
Have you?
No.
So I would make a motion to approve the special event at the racetrack.
I would second it.
We have a motion to approve the monster truck for the end of July for the Brown County Speedway. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Guess that brings us just about to our next.
Doing good, Doug.
Yeah, moving us right along there.
Gary, I don't think we have enough time really to go through anything. We only got about a minute before we have our next agenda item, so. Next item on our agenda is Michael Carlson, Kevin Spitzer, Andrew Barr, and George Schreiber with the indigent burial rights. Are they all present?
Half of us are here.
Good morning.
That's fine.
Yeah. Those four people will represent the owners of the funeral homes in Brown County. I'm going to pass around a proposal, I guess.
one for everybody here, you know, including Nancy and Rachel. We were talking as a group, which I don't know if we have ever gotten together as a group before to talk about something. It's been well over 15 years since there's been any adjustments made to the indigent burial rates. And consequently, we all feel that we've fallen very, very far behind as the cost of doing business has went up. We're to the point where we feel our funeral homes actually lose money, considerable amount of money, every time we do an indigent burial. And on top of that, it's been becoming increasingly more difficult to work with social services on this. Personally, my funeral home, I experienced this last year with the change of some of the laws in South Dakota, and it fortunately didn't affect Brown County. It was between Edmonds and Spink County, where actually I didn't get paid. It was a situation where a lady had lived in Edmonds County until she had to go into nursing care. Then she went into the nursing home in Redfield. And state law states that the county of former residents pays it. Well, she'd been in Redfield for 7 years. Spink County knew the law. They weren't paying. Edmonds County, they dug in and says, hey, she hasn't lived here for 7 years. We're not paying either. So I got to pay for it. You know, and on top of all that, the mileage to Redfield to pick her up and everything like that. And I had a similar situation, again, not in Brown County, it was in North Dakota, where it was very difficult. It was an estranged sibling, hadn't spoken to siblings for 25 years. They weren't paying for it because the siblings wouldn't sign off on the paperwork. Well, the issue we've run into here in Brown County, and I know I've talked to Rachel and Dwayne about this on a recent case that I had, and this would be something I would think to maybe speak with your social services director. They want the funeral homes to be doing all the financial background paperwork on whomever's applying for that, for the assistance. And we as a group, we don't feel that's our job nor our responsibility to do. And you guys have seen, I know I've had to bill you guys for refrigeration. One of my last county indigent burials I had, I wanted cremation. The brother drove up from Watertown on a Thursday, was going to go in to take care of things, and he didn't have an appointment. And they said their next appointment is on a Thursday. Well, or on a Tuesday, excuse me. And his brother that had died had been dead a couple days already. So I had to refrigerate him all weekend, and kind of made a mess in my refrigeration unit. We had to disinfect that, and you know, the bill came through here this last month that you guys paid on that. So it is, you know, in that respect too, it's costing the county a little extra there too. But what we've done, when we put these numbers together, we based it off of a 5-year-old survey that the Funeral Directors Association did. So, you know, it wasn't even an updated survey on indigent burials. Between all of us, we couldn't come up with a firm number of how many indigent burials there are a year. I would guess there's somewhere in the range of 20 or 25 between all the funeral homes, but that's just a guess. From what we're compensated now to what's on this paper, it is quite a jump.
What are the current rates?
Right now we get $1,000 for a cremation, and is it $1,200 for a traditional funeral, plus the gravedigger and the burial vault are billed to the county. Just to give you a better idea, the county, what we call the county approved casket, which is your basic casket, it's a cloth covered engineered cardboard container. That costs us a little over $400. That's our wholesale cost on that, closer to $500. 478, I want to say it was.
There's one number missing in your direct cremation only. Is that the 1,000?
Direct cremation only?
With memorial service, there's two different. Which one is there two different prices there?
Direct cremation only is when we just cremate the body and give the ashes back to the people.
Is that the one that's $1,000?
That's, well, actually it's $1,000 for either one of those now.
Oh, I see.
And we also, you know, not trying to push things away, but rather than in getting a middleman in between, you know, we feel that the grave digger should bill the county directly, and also the burial vault provider could bill the county directly. And as you notice here also, I did recommend that rather than waiting so many years and then asking for a fairly substantial jump, if we could just build in some kind of a cost of doing business, you know, increase every year would be great.
Well, the annual increase each year is great, but one thing that you have to understand is, to have that ongoing every year, we as a county never know what our budget is, because the CPI
Right.
index can change. Like this year, we're under a 0 CPI index, so therefore, the county has to operate in the same funds as we operated in last year, except we do get the growth, which doesn't amount to a lot. So for us to start putting out funds for years in advance, knowing what our budget, that's a hard place for us to be at.
Yeah, that's why I used the word recommend.
Yeah, I would have a problem with that, because we're kind of binding future commissions to what that increase is locked into, so
Yeah.
I think that's something that they can just handle on a...
Yeah.
maybe-
And you know, just to kind of think in your own mind when we were talking, Andrea came up with the closest projection. She thinks it's been 18-plus years since we've had an adjustment. You know, and...
I've been in Groton 18 years, and I don't remember an increase in that time.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't gonna bring it up.
Yeah, well, that's it. And, you know, and this, I think this all came about because I truly feel that all four of us hit that frustration point at the same time. And, you know, for us to come down and sit together and work on something jointly is well, kind of a landmark thing. I don't know if we've ever sat down to talk about something that affects us all like this jointly.
How do these compare with what other counties are charging? Do you have a survey countywide
We looked at...
or
We
statewide?
looked at some comparable counties.
Brookings.
Watertown is quite a bit higher than this. I think they were 3,500.
And we looked at Pennington County.
Dade
Yeah.
County's 2,250.
You know, and looking at that survey also, I mean, there's some counties that they don't pay a lot. But then you gotta look at the county too. They probably don't have an indigent burial, but every 3, 4, 5 years. You know, last one I dealt with in McPherson County, it was very easy to do the math, you know, of a negative. And we all feel the same in regards to serving indigent families. You know, they all need caring, competent funeral care. But as a business person too, none of us are capable of giving a lesser service. And we all have that certain standard. But when we're tied up with an indigent family that deserves that care, it may be taking some time away from a family that's paying full fare.
How many indigent burials do you have in a given year?
I'm thinking between all of us is probably 25, but, you know, I'm sure the welfare office could give you an exact number on that. And that's why we wanted to spread this out a little bit more than what the current explanation of charges are. When it was set before, cremation was a very rare thing probably. It's becoming more and more popular.
Right.
Yep.
So,
And I truly feel that there's a lot of counties, there's not a funeral director you can talk to that says they feel they get an equitable amount for a county service. But there's a lot of counties where apathy on the funeral home's part isn't addressing the problem. You know, it just took us all to come to a head on this, to say we need to look for a little more income on this. And if you look at the time frame, I mean, a traditional funeral 18 years ago was probably $5,000 to $6,000, and in 18 years' time, they're probably close to doubled. So you know, you can see the difference in the costs.
so your point is very well taken, and...
I'm just trying to drive it home.
And I think that, you know, much like Dwayne said, it's something that all the commission needs to, and probably do a little research on our end, check out counties, as we do a lot of that as far as background in like counties. Not that we want to be a comparable type situation, but at least we kind of know where we're at, and I respect that you've done your homework on that also, but I think that's kind of where the county's at this point, is we'll do some research and get back with you.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Putting the information together.
Yeah, and I know the other two, they were planning on being here, but our schedules kind of
Okay.
take us away at the last moment, so.
Well, you did very well, so I think you've covered their bases.
Okay, well, there's always strength in numbers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea.
Gary, you wanna check in the bigger counties?
Yeah.
Because that is a fairly substantial increase.
Yeah.
20 to 25 a year, that would more than double our budget.
I guess we have about 7 minutes till our next agenda. Gary, you have anything?
Let's call up the EM group and see if we
Okay.
can get them. You got a few minutes if you can come up now. All right, thanks.
County award for...
Yeah, we have a certification to acknowledge from the EM office, so they're on their way up, and
What is the award?
she finished her EM certification. While we're waiting for them to come up, I also have a bond of indemnity to move forward on our 509 North Penn Street quiet title process. Once we authorize the chair to sign this, then that will be moved on to the judge, and we'll finish off that process. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the chair's signature.
second.
We have a motion and a second to sign the bond indemnity on our property on, was it North 2nd?
509 North Penn Street.
509 North Penn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Come on in, Scott and Patty. Good morning.
Morning.
Now, does that make you EM 1.5? EM 2?
No. I told him if he ever quit, I wasn't stepping in, so.
Patty, if you want to step up, we've got a certificate from you.
All right.
Appreciate your service.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on being a certified employee
Thank
manager.
you.
Hold on, I'll
Thank
get a
you.
picture here as soon as I see one.
I like to rush right into things.
You want to stand up there?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that was...
Doug, you can present it to her.
Yeah.
Not much room to get through there. Over to this official.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
They got it.
Holy cow.
I gotta get recognized. No.
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Patty.
Thank you.
Now Scott can work on his.
He's
Oh, he's already got it.
Gary, do you have anything else?
No, that's all I have. A couple minutes here.
And you got everything, Kathy? We covered everything? Okay.
There's no tea.
I know. It's pretty unbelievable. Catch and shoot.
If any of you are available tomorrow at 9:30 at the Aberdeen Development Court, training center, there's gonna be a meeting on rural water issues across the state, so
Who's up with that?
this is the, Grove, South Dakota.
You say rural water, like
Yeah, the
drinking
issues,
water?
yeah, the issues with, what they're running across, and all the rural water associations are running across issues across the state, and they're gonna have a discussion on that, for their quarterly meeting.
Ready or Dirk? We're about 2 minutes early, I don't think, a minute and a half. So Dirk, next on our agenda is Dirk Rogers, Highway Superintendent, discuss development along county roads and department updates.
Howdy.
Morning, Dirk.
There's nothing that's, needs signatures or condemnation or anything today, so I don't think a minute and a half will throw anything off too bad.
Okay.
My first topic isn't a new one. And I talked with Gary a little bit, and real briefly with Mr. Bader. There's a development the example that I'm using, and part of the problem is the county's mechanism for kind of tracking what goes on when there's a subdivision, especially adjacent to the county road. Outside of like right-of-way occupancy and approach permits, after that, we're kind of limited, and they'll get building permits and stuff like that. And I'm not even speaking so much to the building part of it, because I'm not really qualified. I'm talking more about the road part of it. And that example where they're adding a subdivision out there east across from the weather station, down there by Butler, and which eventually, it'll probably be a moot point because that road will eventually be a city street. They've annexed enough property out there that'll be a topic we'll be looking at in the near future. But, we didn't, other than us going down there and watching what they were doing, and they had the road closed for an extended period of time, I didn't hear too many access issues like from the residents or anything like that, so I think they kept people in and out. And the project's not done. They're gonna have to do some asphalt work and stuff that it's gotten too late in the year to do. I mean, we have the same thing on Road 16. There's a couple things we didn't get done on that too, so I'm not, I'm just using it as an example. But, I got a couple calls from the two businesses out there. For instance, things like the ditch draining when they're done, after they've, dug it up, put in their utilities, and then put the ditch back to make sure that flows right, and things like that. I was a lot more adamant about this topic until I started thinking through the logistics of it, and there's a little more to it. And I'm not looking for a definitive solution today because I'm kind of coming in with a problem without a real good solution for it. But there are a couple different things I want to look at, so you guys are aware that if we have another development come up in the near future, I might try to be a little more proactive and see if there's some things we can do so that we can have a little more inspection, on some of these things that are going to affect the road. I'm not trying to, and I don't know what we do with buildings. Someone puts up a machine shed out in the county. I don't know to what extent we look into how that was built, and that's not really so much what I'm talking about, but just so you know, we actually have one guy at the highway department outside of myself that I'd be comfortable with watching those projects and reporting, or at least a daily stop by. And if that's an option, or if we need to ever get a little more involved in it, we may have to hire a professional service. And then I don't know how we go about recouping that cost. I don't know if there's something we can, Scott had mentioned, bonding, that, we could have different things with that, but that's gonna lead to probably needing an ordinance to accompany it and things like that. So, like I said, I don't have a good, hey, this is what I want you to do, but I just want to kind of bring that up so that if we do have to approach something different in the future, you're not completely going, what's this, so.
Was that involving County Road 14 with the implement dealers there where that mess
Yeah.
was? Is that what they were talking about as when it rained there? They had to put
Yeah, you know, my point of argument's more on the road going to the south, because most of that, as rugged as it looks and getting into the winter and what it's gonna look like through the winter and that, it's mostly in the DOT's right of way. So there's, some of that is a little bit outside of what we can control anyway. It's going to the south, and we have other examples where there's been subdivision development with the little below par access to the lots, and, you know, then that simmers around for a long, long time, you know, and stays a topic. And I don't know if we're ever gonna get to that point, you know, and there's probably a conversation to be had with the city on this a little bit as far as stuff that happens in the 3-mile limit and all that kind of thing, but for the most part, I just want to kind of drag that up and point it out so that if we have to do something a little different next summer, you guys aren't completely blindsided. The other thing I added was just, I was going to say a department update, but we've pretty much been plowing snow the last couple days. Before that, we're hauling some pit run down, and we were doing a little bit of graveling. That'll kind of slow down a little bit. We still might haul a little bit of gravel in the right spots, but
Where was most snow at, south or north?
kind of right in the middle. Columbia, I think, Columbia and Groton seemed to have more than we had right here. I looked at the Weather Service had some things the other day, and
What'd they say we had? I never did hear.
anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5, 6. I don't know.
How'd it
What did you guys get up there?
Not even sure.
So, but you know, there's different spots where it wasn't too bad. Our problem yesterday was that towards the end of the day, the wind was still blowing it across. So, so we're actually got 3 blades and 4 plows out, still cleaning up today. So.
Were you guys out on Sunday?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we went out Sunday. I don't know how good a job we got done, but to try to kind of, you know, even though I don't think it was anything you couldn't have got through, it would have been such a damn mess. That's my big hang-up about that.
People drive on it.
You know, once you drive on it, and there wasn't anything I didn't think anybody would have went out and got stuck in, but, man, then you're going to sit and be dealing with that. We're going to have enough trouble as it is at the intersections.
They're slippery out there.
Yeah, I know. We're trying to sand. That's another thing. It's hard to sand when the wind's blowing, because it melts a little bit, and then it just catches everything, and so looks like they hit it with the Zamboni. So, but other than that, a couple things. Bridge 16, the Road 16 project, we had a soft spot on the south side of the bridge. I think we've got that.
Should be hard by now.
Yeah, I think we got that held up for now. It'll be interesting in the spring to see what happens.
Put it on ice for the winter.
Yeah, I hope so. And we have 2 TS&Ls, which is the next step of bridge grants. You remember we got awarded 2 engineering grants, or preliminary engineering grants, so that's gone through that process. And we have the TS&L, which is a requirement for the grant to apply for the construction component of that. And those have to be in by the end of the month. So either on the 20th or the 27th, I'll be bringing those grant applications in for you guys to bless them so we can get them in before the end of the year.
What's your next wish list for bridge?
Well, first off, those 2 are the one at the Hall Pit on 11, and the one that's over the outlet of Sand Lake. They're both posted right now. The other 2 that we applied for grants already but got rejected, okay, we sent in 4 last time and 2 of them got rejected, were for the one on 27 west of Mansfield, and I think the other one was that Elm Lake one. Now, those are only the ones that we're running through the bridge program. At the same time, next year we're doing the bridge on Richmond Road, going out to Richmond Lake, that bridge, and bridge on 21 over the gym. And we're waiting, and then the next one we're watching is the one at Warner, if that's going to go below any less posting than what it's at right now. So that one will happen, but those are all going to be the ones we're going to do either with precast concrete or with that metal precast steel like we did, or modular steel like we did before. So those will be pretty quick, but we'll be paying the full cost, and those will all be between $350,000 and $450,000 for those bigger ones. And we're trying to do 2 of those a year, in addition to what we run through the bridge program, or at least that's what I'm kind of trying to do.
Very good.
I guess that's about all I had.
Anything else for dirt?
You guys here for road stuff?
Just about the ditch that was done.
Well, we can talk about that now.
I called Dwayne
Yep.
Sutton last night. I'm Tim Salzer, I'm with the Westport City Council. Friday, there was a drainage ditch done for a culvert, and the dirt was just piled in the city lot. The city board was not notified about this at all, and we could have saved you guys time and money. Water does not flow uphill.
Well, when we shut the culvert, so you're telling me the water's all supposed to drain to the east side or the west side of the road there?
Well, she'd have to raise her parking lot in that corner like 3 foot in order for it to drain.
Well, when we shut the culvert, it'll drain off to the east. And I also understand you guys have do you have a major drainage? Is it drainage or sanitary sewer project that's coming up? Both. So it's all gonna be a moot point when that's done anyway.
But the dirt was piled in the city lot.
Yep, that we did wrong. We're cleaning that up today. By the time you get up there, hopefully it'll be picked up.
I came to you last summer
Yep,
about getting some no parking signs
yep.
for the east side of the road. Those aren't there. I don't know how this ditch come through so quickly, and
Well,
nobody knew about it.
The ditch thing, first off, is to get the water away from the road. That's the first motivation there. That's why we can go in and address the drainage next to the county road. We'd screwed up on 2 things. I should have notified you, I agree with you, and we should have cleaned up the dirt, when we did it.
Because that's just a potential hazard for the snowmobiles parked in that lot.
Yep.
They're not gonna know about it. Somebody's gonna get sick. They're gonna hit that.
Yep, so that's, like I said, that's getting cleaned up today. And somebody called me from Westport last night, or yesterday, and what I indicated to him is the same thing. We'd clean that up, we can reseed the ditch in the spring, and then whenever you guys' project is done, which the engineering firm that's designing your drainage project, or whoever's doing that, should account for the drainage on that pipe anyway, but if there's something that needs to be done outside of that, we'll straighten that out too. But I don't think that's a new thing. I mean, ever since we paved in there, someone's been on me one way or the other about something up there,
9 years ago, they done a study on that culvert. And what they told us at that time, that culvert sits so level, it's not gonna drain.
It's actually the other way around now. I've shot elevations on that myself.
Well, I can double check
I don't know if one end of it settled, or, I know culverts settle and stuff like
Sure.
that.
I would say the west, or the east side of that probably settled at some point.
But the digging of the trench in there isn't gonna help anyway.
Well, like I said, I'll double check it.
We've tried that before.
Sure.
So.
And in the future, because of problems I've had in Westport, you guys come in and talk to these guys first. Don't even bother calling me anymore. Because what's happened the last 3 times is I end up in the middle of some kind of internal strife you're having up there. And I'm not gonna do that anymore. And I apologize to the commission in advance, because I normally don't do that, but I'm do one thing, and
we're here.
So, and that's good. So you can just come in here and they can direct me, and we'll go from there.
Anything else? In regards to your parking on the County Road 10 there, I don't think that's ever really been presented to the commission. They might have approached you, but I don't know. That's kind of a gray area when you start putting parking signs up on the county roads, because does that mean we gotta put one by the post office in Westport? Does that mean we gotta put one through Columbia? Do we have to put one through on County Road through Frederick?
Well, Doug, you know how fast traffic comes
through
Right.
Westport on that road. And when you pull up to the stop sign facing west, when all them vehicles are parked along that shoulder, you cannot see to the north until you get further into that intersection.
A lot of times when the vehicles are parked out there, they're in the road.
Well, you know, and I guess that's a county right-of-way. I guess that's been like that for, what, 40 years, 50 years, they've been parking in that spot. I think the issue that comes down to it is, if we start putting no parking in Westport, do we put them in Frederick? Does Columbia come after us for them? Next thing you know, all our county roads have no parking on them, and I guess that's the issue. I think is kind of a gray area. Once you start that precedence, whether it's in Westport, does it continue down to Frederick, Columbia? That's our concern, is where does everybody else want no parking signs? And I think that's a real touchy area when you start doing that.
But on the flip side of that, I think that you have to kind of look at each city or town, you know, individually. Warner, for example, I mean, they've got kind of parallel parking on each side, and Columbia has that, and where Westport kind of has a unique situation. There's no area for parking except for the way it is, and for them to request a no parking sign from a safety standpoint, I think that's something we can handle on a case-by-case basis, based on the need and the circumstances.
Well, last summer, is that what you put that pad? On the east side of the boat?
I guess so.
She poured a cement pad on the east side of the bar, which the vehicles parked there, but now that she poured that pad, it pushes those vehicles further towards the county road.
Yep.
So it's getting narrower and narrower with vehicles parked on the east side and vehicles parked on the west side.
Right.
And traffic still don't slow down.
You got vehicles hanging out the road from both sides.
Yep.
And try to eliminate one side of it, to make things a lot safer coming through there.
Has there already been any thoughts to lower the speed limit, or don't you think it would help?
Well, I think we got it as low as they'll go
They've got
with it.
speed limit signs there, nobody pays attention to them.
Well, I guess that was my
People that
question.
Come through there 70, 80 miles an hour.
Rich had talked to me about lowering it to 20, but I said that, you know, you as a town have to decide if that's something you wanted. And Rich has never gotten back to me.
Oh, and we were under the assumption that that was as low as we could get it.
No. We can pass a...
Is it 30 right now?
We can pass a resolution, somebody, you know, like Rich asked me, and I told Rich to go to the city and ask if that's what they wanted, because I didn't, well, I guess that's kind of where Rich and I are at. I wasn't going to get involved with that until Rich had kind of proved it with the city of Westport. If you felt that 20-mile-an-hour speed limit would help change that, and that's totally up to you if you want that changed, or...
They don't even pay attention to the 30 miles.
Well, I realize that, so...
It only does any good if people follow it.
But...
What are your thoughts on putting no parking signs on the east side, Dirk?
Well, I just deferred everything that happens in Westport to the commission, so.
That's why I'm asking you your thoughts. Before I make a
So who's gonna come in here once we put those signs up?
Well, the first thing we gotta do, I think, is look at the ordinance. Because I don't think that the parking ordinance absolutely precludes you from parking in the right-of-way. I think there's a nuisance, or there's some kind of component to the parking ordinance that says that. They have a unique situation, and this could be a huge can of worms, because they're referring like to the slab that she poured out, that was poured out from the bar. You go and pull a 33-foot right-of-way all the way through Westport, there's going to be all kinds of stuff that's going to be in the right-of-way. So it's kind of unique. You guys cited Warner. In Warner, on Warner Main Street, it's defined that the parking spots are not the county's. They're the city of Warner's. The county just has a middle 24 feet. And that varies. It's different in Frederick.
Sure.
For some reason in Frederick, I think we go curb to curb, and each town's different, and I've never really figured out what the deal was in Westport, because Westport's laid out parallel to the railroad tracks, and then at some point they just put the statutory section line through there and said that's where the road is, after everything had been platted and houses, like some of the cases, houses were built and all that. So it's really gonna be snaky, and I'm talking, I'm pulling a politician on the politician, talking in a big circle. I would have to look at that ordinance and look at an interpretation, because, I mean, if we've already got the nuisance component in there, or however that's worded, but then on bridges, you guys did specifically, you had to add that to it. There's, you know, specific language or ordinance that pertains to parking on bridges too. So I don't know if you wanna get into that like speed limits, where you're gonna be denoting, you know, the absolute no parking. But I think it's gonna take some action by you guys to do that.
If it helps any, we as a council brought this up to the city and we voted on it, and that vote passed 100% to put the signs up there.
And that's true, because they told me that when they did it.
Larry, you think we should have Larry look into that a little, the ordinance?
We can pull that ordinance out and look at it. It probably isn't going to be complicated, it's probably just a couple of sections that apply, so.
Okay.
I think that's what we should do a little bit. See what we can.
And if it's completely silent on the issue, then you can just pretty much make it up.
Okay.
So we'll have Larry look into that, and then I'll get back with you, Tim, or Mike, and let you know what we're gonna do there, and kind of follow through with it, if that's all right with you guys.
Yep.
I had it on my list here to contact you after the meeting today, so I'll cross that off my list since we've discussed it.
Anything else for Dirk?
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
One other thing. Okay, I've already talked about the bridge grants, so we've got those bridge grants. I don't think they'll have them ready on the 20th, but we'll bring those in. And then, NECOG is working on our infrastructure grant for the soybean plant.
Good.
And I'm hoping that that will be done to bring in on the 20th. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get on the agenda under the assumption that next Tuesday that's gonna be brought in. We've got some estimates put together, we're getting everything to Eric Singer, and he's been preparing that for us. So
Good.
We'll bring that in for your blessing on the 20th. It's, hopefully it'll be $308,000, 50% match, so we have to match it with $308,000, but, you know, and all the things that we're doing with that money are logical things to do anyway. I mean, they're extra turning lanes in some of our busiest roads and some things like that, a little more asphalt up there. Part of it will go for the cities, we gotta put the water and the sewer in there, that's part of it, like $87,000 or something, but, at any rate, that'll be coming through in those grants. And then, Superintendent's Executive Board's meeting in here on Thursday to discuss the small structures, big culvert grant program. We're just getting in under the gun, but we wanted to talk to make sure the other superintendents are on board with that. It's another program potentially that could bring a little more money, about $35,000 to us to put in big pipe. It's specific to pipe that are over 16 square foot in diameter and shorter than 20 foot in length. So it's not a bridge, but it's bigger than what the township takes care of.
I'll be meeting tomorrow morning with Secretary Berquist prior to our board meeting in Pierre on that issue, and then that's on our agenda also tomorrow to discuss as a board.
You guys are meeting in Pierre tomorrow?
Right.
Okay.
So I'll give you a heads
Yeah,
up
let me
on
know.
what we decide, so you guys can
Okay.
discuss that.
All right. Now I'm done.
Well, I think that's all, covers everything. Thank you, Dirk.
Sure.
Thanks, Dirk.
Next on the agenda, we have Derek, the fair manager. Come on in, Derek.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Derek.
How we doing?
Good, you?
All right, couple things on the agenda. First thing is potential board members that we're looking for confirmation on. I apologize, I have too many copies here, so I'll just hand out a few that way, a few that way. That should get us where we need to go. do you have just...
I think we have enough for everybody. Yep, I gave one to Nancy and Rachel.
Okay. Following board members were approved by the Brown County Fair Board and are being presented for confirmation. Each of these members will be set to a 3-year term. They are Greg Markley, Tom Papke, Ryan Swenson, Janice Miller, and Todd Weber. All have successfully completed a background check.
Okay, this is going to be my next question, so that's been done. Do we have to have a motion as far as the commission to accept this?
I'll second it.
We have a motion to accept the new members for a 3-year term. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On the second portion of it, we're going to present bringing back some experienced members to fill specific gaps in certain committees that we have right now. One would be Val Dashel for 1 year, and Mike Russell for a 3-year term. Mike's being suggested as a 3-year due to his engagement and involvement with entertainment and the, I want to say retirement because that's not the right word, but the stepping off of Stu Swenson at the end of the 2017 fair after multiple years of service.
I'll move to approve those.
Second.
2 additional.
We have a motion to approve the experienced members. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And on the third portion of it, we've discussed at one point, just in informational purposes only, but this will be the formal request to dissolve the liaison positions that were created, from what I can tell, approximately 2011. Positions aren't necessarily needed, given the shortage of the current board members that we have, and most of the transitional knowledge that has been passed along during the terms of their appointments.
Guess I'd move that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Opposed, I guess I should say. No opposed? Motion carries.
That's what I had for the board members, and the next portion, I'll request an executive session for contract discussions.
Move that we go into exec.
Second.
We have a motion to go into exec in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're in exec.
Thank you.
Oh, I had asked you earlier
Back
this
in
morning
session, no
about
action as a result of exec.
about the side-by-side that was
Yep.
proposed. Kirk got a hold of me yesterday, and he had sent a couple emails to Rachel, not knowing that
Okay.
she was out of town, but they would like to possibly share a side-by-side, a used Kubota side-by-side for use by the fairgrounds crew and the fair personnel. So I'll let Derek jump in from there.
Okay, as we start looking at budgets, it was brought to my attention a couple weeks ago that the budget numbers that were reported were higher than what I had on my side of the house for my system. This is an example of ending October 31st. The date is actually 11/16. I apologize, the photocopy's a little light. This is from the 16th of November report for expenses through October 31st. As we go through and we audit, we balance, we look at each of the subcategories, because the only way to stay on budget is to know kind of where you are in real time. And when we did this, we noticed that some of our current period adjustments were wrong. So we confirmed with HR as far as payroll withholdings. We found that it was approximately it's about 1,800, give or take. It was about 1,800 off. So we're going to go back through and audit for the remaining couple weeks out of the year to see if there's something that came through that we weren't aware of, or if there was a mistake in the audit. So where that coincides to the side-by-side is that you'll notice on the second drop down, or the second subheading, it'll be the third one down, will say credit card, service fee, CE charge, fare. It's about $21,478. It's the second major grouping, third line item down. We're going to look at seeing exactly where we're going to come in, because right now we will come in under budget, not accounting for those credit card fees, because the revenue on the backside was there. So when we discussed this in Q1, we talked about doing a supplemental budget to offset just the credit card fees alone. But I want to make sure that we're as tight as we can be, so we're only asking you for what we absolutely need instead of asking you for the whole 21.4. Based on initial numbers, even absorbing the cost of the roughly 52